Happy Easter, guys. Um, I don't think I made any videos this last week. I was in the process of trying to do something and it didn't work out. So, when something doesn't work out, you just kind of take time to reflect. Um, so today I would like to kind of give you a backdrop of why I do what I do, give you a little bit more insight into who I am. Um, I'm just like you guys, right? We're all different. We're all like, doing our thing according to our life experiences and how we grew up and things like that. So I guess you could say this is my truth, right? People that speak their truth. So from an early age, I was very empathic. I family would go through a lot of things, just like every family, families go through stuff. And so, but from a very early age, it felt like things are so constricted, right? It felt like I got dropped into a soup of very high emotion where everybody was in this tense state where nobody was really, getting along very well. And it had a lot to do with, my dad had a lot of growing up to do back then, and my dad is totally different now. But that was just the situation that I grew up in, right? So I always understood from a very deep level, because if you're very empathic, you can feel, other people's emotional states, and a lot of times it's hard to differentiate between your own emotional state and somebody else's, or what somebody else is thinking, if you're actually picking up on what they're thinking versus what you're thinking. So it always felt like, I was just kind of a part of everything. And so when that happens, you're um for one thing, if you cause anybody harm, it's like there's somebody screaming in the back of your head because it becomes your own pain. It's like, don't do that. You're causing someone else harm. So unconditional love just became a normal thing, right? And I remember people used to say, well, you're just the nicest person I've ever met. And I never looked at myself that way. It's like, I'm nice. Why am I nice? I'm just trying to keep from causing you pain so I don't hurt myself, right? It's almost like you feel instant karma, if you cause pain to someone. So didn't want to do that. And we went to, my parents went to a local church, I think an Assembly of God church. And the way that modern Christianity was taught, I never intuitively felt it was right, right? It never felt right for us to be worshiping a guy, named Jesus, because it always felt like everything was the same thing to me. Like we were all there wasn't any real true difference at a core level between any one of us. And it felt like that's what Jesus was teaching when I read it. And it was like, why are we deifying this person over here and trying to tell everybody else that we're down here? He was trying to lift everybody else to his level, right? I mean, he even says it in the scriptures, like, I go back to the Father, so you're going to do much greater things than I did. So I never really understood that, because I always had these visions when I was at a really early age that we were going, that everything we were doing now is so limited that our ascension was just going to go up and we were going to change. And I could tell, I just felt like that was what we were going through. And so my truth is that, that's why we're here. And there's been a huge revolution of that, especially in the last 5-10 years. People are starting to realize that we're going through a huge awakening on a consciousness level, right? People are becoming more aware of their personal power, their divinity, their power to manifest things. How important it is to support one another and to grow closer, as a community. How important it is to just love people unconditionally, right? Because everybody is in a different stage of growth. Everybody's going through different learning lessons. And, we all know different things. And that's why it's so important to understand that not one of us is more important than the other one. We all have these individual traits that we're here to teach each other. And so that's why I started the project that I did, because I wanted to create a just an equal community, and get rid of these old concepts of control. You really have to let go of control in order to grow, and just create an intent and then just see where that takes you, follow your heart space. And I'm going to start a video series on my YouTube channel about the state of reality and why it's important to follow your heart and how that forces you to grow and, just be as a person. So I'm going to keep this message short today. I just wanted to get on here and wish everybody a happy Easter. And I hope you're all doing well and that I love you guys. My door is always open. And, one of the hardest things to deal with, if you're following your heart is because people who aren't following their heart and they're stuck where they're at, and uh, they'll have a tendency to just kind of not communicate with you as much. Right. And so you'll start pulling away from people who aren't following your heart. So I encourage you to just support people no matter where they're at or what they're doing. I constantly try to reach out to everybody. That it doesn't matter what state they're in, or it's friends, family. Um, all of us are doing different things, and there's no real judgment, and it doesn't matter if you do or don't. But I encourage you all to just to find the time to at least support yourself, because you have a lot of value. And then make sure that you're taking care of yourself to make sure that you're happy, because you can't really help anybody else if you're not happy, right? So that's my easy message today. My simple truth is that everything that's going on around us is we're just going through an ascension process. And that ascension process is our consciousness is raising, where all of us are becoming more connected, because the more information energy that's running in between each of us, the more we ascend and our consciousness expands. So I wish you all a happy Sunday and a happy Easter, and I'll see you tomorrow.